May 21st meeting of the Harwich Conservation Commission has come to order. And we generally open with a pledge of allegiance.
Yes, I do.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First hearing is Harwich Conservation Trust. And, guess you gentlemen would like to open.
Good evening. Thank you, members of the Conservation Commission and Town Conservation Administrator. I'm Michael Locke, Executive Director of the nonprofit Harwich Conservation Trust. I'm here to seek your approval of a conservation restriction, as well as your approval of a recommendation letter from your Conservation Commission to the Select Board, encouraging their signature approval of the same conservation restriction on a property located at 379 Main Street, formerly Kelly Street. As a way of background, it's approximately 50 acres owned by Ray Thatcher Jr., in which the Harwich Conservation Trust is looking to protect the property in perpetuity. It's subject to a 2-year lease back so that Ray can continue farming. Just way of further background, just for the commission and listeners. What we have witnessed over the past couple of decades is local cranberry growers having a tough time with a larger economic picture, larger off-Cape cranberry farms producing much more in the way of yields, and that's been pushing prices down. And that, combined with labor shortages and other factors, have made it more difficult for local farmers to keep their farms going. Some have been looking for an alternative, and that includes preserving their vision for what they've worked so hard at over the years, investing time and energy and taking care of them and being good stewards. And so Harwich Conservation Trust and the town of Harwich have partnered on other projects that include retired cranberry bogs, such as the Robert F. Smith Colebrook Preserve, and there are other examples. There are other examples in town.
Can you mute them, please?
This is the most recent of them that lifts up a partnership between Harwich Conservation Trust and town of Harwich. I will also say there are other properties that Harwich Conservation Trust, bog properties that we acquire, that we lease out to local growers, including one not far from here that we lease to Alan and his son Ben Hall. So we look at these on a case-by-case basis. This particular property, again, farming for the next few years, and then we're looking at studying eco-restoration options going forward. The partnership between the town and the trust helps preserve the views that everybody enjoys from the Cape Cod Rail Trail and Great Western Road, helps preserve the land from becoming a potential future subdivision, which would otherwise send nutrients into the already impaired water quality of the Herring River. And it also provides a future opportunity for walking trails. We can see how popular Colebrook project has become with everyone since the walking trails have been completed and the eco-restoration completed. And you can also see the retired bog eco-restoration happening opposite Cape Tech on the corner of Headwaters Drive and Pleasant Lake Ave. So we see that as the future for this property. In order to get there, part of the process is to approve this conservation restriction to be held by you. It's already been authorized by a past town meeting vote. We are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy, we have to take these one item at a time,
I would.
correct?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have any questions or remarks from any commissioners?
No questions for me. Questions? Sounds good.
Public.
How about anybody in the room? Does anybody have any questions or remarks, or anybody online? Well, hearing none.
So it'd be to accept and approve the conservation restriction for the Cape Cod Rail Trail overlook.
I was getting to that, but yes.
I apologize, I thought you were
No, no.
looking at me for help.
No, please, that was fine. So at this point, we're gonna have to go to a motion and a vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll entertain a motion for this hearing.
I'll second it.
So we need the motion first.
Oh, go ahead.
Then I will move for the approval of the conservation restriction as stated for Lot 2, 379 Main Street, map 38, parcel G, 320.
I will second that.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? We have no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
You have approval.
Thank you all very much. Another great example of town and local land trust partnership.
Mark, do you want to announce the second one,
Oh, sorry.
please?
And the second hearing is the Harwich Conservation Trust, Red River Valley Preserve. And that's at 1039 Route 28, map 35, parcel S20, South Harwich. So, Mr. Locke, if you could please explain.
Yes, this conservation restriction is focused on approximately 8 1/10 acre on the 9.6 acre approximately sized property, as you mentioned, at street address number 1039 Route 28. The ecological significance of this property is that it is within a public water supply recharge area to town wells that collectively serve about 10,000 households in town. It also is in the public water recharge area to town of Chatham wells. It's right on the Chatham border, since Red River flows right there along the Chatham-Harwich border. So that means it's in the watershed to the town's most popular and largest public beach, Red River Beach, downstream. We also envision this property becoming the future office and learning center of Harwich Conservation Trust. So we have a design process underway working towards that vision. So this conservation restriction was also authorized by prior town meeting vote for the Town Conservation Commission to hold it. And again, we're seeking your approval of the conservation restriction and the approval of a letter of recommendation from your Conservation Commission to the Select Board for their approval also.
Very good, thank you. Do we have any remarks from the commissioners, thoughts or questions?
No questions.
Anyone present that would like to address this? No? Anybody online? Hearing none. I would move that we approve the restriction as stated. At 1039 Route 28, map 35, parcel S20.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Again, you have approval.
Thank you very much for your partnership in protecting this important piece of property.
So before you leave tonight, I have those documents for you to sign, and I will sign the support letter if that's okay with you on your behalf.
Please.
So.
Okay. Looks like the next order of business is the 10 Headwaters Drive project, map 80, parcel 81, SC 322566, Hinckley's Pond, Herring River Headwaters Eco Restoration. Change in plans.
Thank you. I'm remiss in also introducing our president of the Board of Trustees, Tom Evans, who's here tonight. We're glad to answer any questions. I'll make a brief presentation about this request for plan change on an order of conditions that you've provided. Did
If
you
I
want-
may make a quick edit
Yes.
on, so it actually is an amendment.
Pardon me, amendment.
And you didn't know, so the language, you notified your abutters, it was on the agenda, you followed all those protocols, so it actually is an amendment request. The letter stated it's a plan change, but it is an amendment.
Okay.
Sorry about that, just wanted to clarify.
Thank you for clarifying. The amendment consists of creating a crossing of approximately 4 feet in width. We've estimated initially that it would be 15 to 20 feet in length, and it's to span the outlet of water that flows from the ecologically restored area on the east side of the Cape Cod Rail Trail, and that water flows through a culvert under the rail trail into Hinckley's Pond. And we're looking to span the flow of that water. The reason we're looking to span it is because we realized that people accessing the shoreline to place non-motorized watercraft such as canoes or kayaks may also want to walk over to the envisioned pond overlook, which will replace what's currently there, which is a derelict pump house. So that pump house, as part of the approved order of conditions, will be removed in the coming weeks. And we think it's appropriate timing with the equipment that's been mobilized to place that new crossing over that outlet. We would not need helical piles. We're considering whether we have railings or not. And then we would have a trail on either side of the crossing so that folks could move back and forth between those two areas that I described. Furthermore, as already approved through the issued order of conditions, leading back and forth from the pond viewing area, which again will be the foundation footprint of the to-be-removed pump house, there'll be a ramp that's going to switch back up to the Cape Cod Rail Trail, and it's going to be designed such that it'll be wheelchair accessible. And there'll be a companion ramp on the east side of the Cape Cod Rail Trail leading from that very popular bike trail for walkers, people that may have kids in strollers or that are otherwise using the rail trail, pedestrians, to make their way down to the wheelchair accessible path that's being installed over the next couple weeks around the former Jenkins bog, the one that's immediately at the corner of Headwaters Drive and Pleasant Lake Ave. Thank you for considering this amendment.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions or thoughts or remarks?
No, I have no question.
Anyone in the room have any questions or anything they'd like to address?
If I may. If I may.
Please, I'm sorry.
Sorry, no problem. So this is an amendment request based on, actually I spoke with Nick Nelson today quickly. It looks like the width is, it's 4 feet wide, but the length is gonna be probably on the shorter side of that 15 to 20, maybe even less than 15, to
Yes.
span that. And I did talk with him a little bit about the potential for some additional planting there. Normally with new structures, we do look for mitigation. However, he did remind me that, MISA, I think, had wanted some area to, near the pond edge to remain clear for potential state-listed pond vegetation, or near-shore vegetation, to emerge. My guess is potentially Plymouth gentian is what they're thinking about on that sandy, really flat area near the pond. And considering the huge benefit that this project is going to provide, I don't see any need for additional mitigation. The paths and will nicely channelize people to keep them off of sensitive areas rather than trampling everything. So I would recommend approval of your amendment, of the requested amendment.
Okay. That being said, I believe we're ready for a motion.
Might have to, did you ask for public comment?
I thought I did, I'm sorry.
Sorry, maybe you did.
Is there anyone in the room that has remarks regarding this? No? Anyone online or by phone? Hearing none, I would say we are ready for a motion. Would anyone care to?
I'll move that we approve the amendment for 10 Headwaters Drive, map 80, parcel 81, SC 32-2566. I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
3-0.
3 and 1.
3-1, I guess.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do you want this, or you want me to hand the whole package over to them tomorrow? All this, down to the select board? Yeah, they may have you revise the select board signature page because of the new people.
Next hearing is for Mass DOT. Request for determination of applicability, South Street, Main Street, Sisson Road right-of-ways.
Thank you. My name is Kyle Stanley. I am from Park Corporation on behalf of MassDOT. We are the designer for this MassDOT Safe Routes to School project for Harwich Elementary School. For those of you who are not super familiar with the project, we're aiming to reconstruct some of the existing sidewalks on South Street, Main Street, and Sisson Road to provide ProAg accessibility, so the public rights-of-way accessibility guidelines. Basically just trying to provide at least a minimum 5-foot sidewalk, try to make safer streets for children to get to and from the Harwich Elementary School. Online with me, I do have Craig LaCroix, who did do a major part in preparing this RDA, so I will turn it over to him, and he can give you guys more of a in-depth look of that.
Thanks, Kyle. As you said, can everyone hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My name is Greg LaCroix from Park Corporation. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight. Feeling a little under the weather, but here to present, as Kyle introduced, the Safe Routes to School project along Sisson Road, South Street, and Main Street. Just as a little introduction to the project, I'm going to share my screen. If I can figure out. Okay. Can everyone see this? Okay. So again, here's the general project limits. I just drew them out on Mass Mapper. Just work along South Street, generally north of the elementary school, along Main Street, along Sisson Road, and then down south to the elementary school as well. Within the vicinity of proposed work, we have two bordering vegetated wetlands in this area. and in this area, and then one isolated vegetative wetland here. So those are the resource areas in the vicinity of the site. I'm now going to share the project plans. Okay, so here's the general outline of the project plans. Again, South Street, Main Street, and Sisson Road. The sheets that we'll really be focusing on with work adjacent to the wetlands are 7 and then 10 through 12. So I can kind of quickly go through those in this area. So this V100 series BVW receives a 100-foot buffer zone. We are proposing work within that buffer zone, some of which is exempt. A lot of the work proposed is resurfacing existing impervious surfaces. So for buffer impacts, we're just showing non-exempt work, which is the widening of the shared use path to 8 feet, and that's that red area you see here. We're on the far side of the roadway from the wetland, and we did propose some erosion controls at the closest point. Going down, we are showing an IVW here. This is just the northern extent of the IVW. It does extend south. But this is that northern extent. Technically, MassDOT, through our coordination with them, they are not subject to local bylaws, which is why you're not seeing any buffer zones here. We did want to show it to make the commission aware of it, and we did make every effort to remove all work from the wetlands. So as you see, the compost filter sock goes right down to the edge, but we're staying out, and we did our best to save however many trees we can. Some trees will have to be removed as part of the work because we will be grading a slope down to the wetland edge, but again, staying out of it and saving as many trees as we can. We've also included some proposed trees, looks like 8 total along the slope after it's completed. And then the last wetland area is this V300 series wetland. And then again, we're showing the 100-foot buffer zone in the cyan blue color, and then non-exempt work as buffer zone impacts along the existing sidewalk. So this is the western half of that wetland area. And then as we go to the next sheet, this is the eastern half of that wetland area. So again, we're also on the far side of the road in this area. We have proposed compost filter stock. So we're doing our best to keep all work away from any wetlands. Just as far as numbers and like impact totals, approximately 2,047 square feet of non-exempt work is located within the 100-foot buffer zone associated with the 2 BBWs. They've been minimized to the extent practicable given the site constraints and the needs of the improvements. So this is the project. We can dive into other sheets if the commission is interested, but these are those jurisdictional areas that I wanted to focus on. So at this point, I think I'm happy to hand it back to the commission and we can answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Amy, would you like to?
Sure, I'll give a quick summary for you. As I said, the purpose is to provide complete ADA access to the school along the main roads surrounding the school. In many places, sidewalks either don't exist, or exist but are in poor shape, or exist but are too narrow and don't meet ADA standards. So there's only, as they said, 3 spots within your jurisdiction. There's 2 bordering vegetated wetlands. One is across from the entrance of the elementary school on South Street. It's the opposite side of the road from where you're going to be doing the work. There's not too much of a concern to have it add any adverse impact to that wetland that's on the other side of the street. There's also one on Main Street, again on the other side on the north side of Main Street. And then the one to me that we just need to be most careful about is the isolated vegetated wetland, which is on Main Street, just to the west, if you know of Wayne's Garage, on Main Street. So it's a wetland, but it doesn't have any inputs, so it's isolated. So because of that, there's not, it's non-jurisdictional, as it's an isolated wetland, and under the Wetlands Act, they're recognized, but the standards aren't really as such. So, this is a request for determination of applicability. My suggestion, particularly for the isolated vegetated wetland, is to keep it as tight as you possibly can. I know we've already talked about this kind of behind the scenes when you were designing this project. The wetland comes almost all the way up to the existing sidewalk, so being very careful about your erosion controls there, removing as minimal trees as possible. Did you have any trees in mind for what you're replanting with? And if not, I'm happy to make a suggestion.
When we talked to, I can't remember the name right now, the tree warden or.
Link Hoop, the highway director?
Link pointed me to somebody else, I can't think of his name.
Brian Albee.
Brian Albee, yes. He said that he was a fan of red maples, and that's what
Well,
he
me
should
too.
propose,
That's
so.
what I was gonna recommend. Just because of its proximity to groundwater there, they'll do really well there. And actually, we'd have to check the trees there. They may be, if they're poplar, then I say don't worry too much about saving them. They're invasive, but we can take a look at the trees that are in that location before we do it. But that's my only concern, is being, extra cautious in that, for that particular isolated vegetated wetland. So, but with conditions for that, I would recommend approval with a -3. That works buffer zone. Thank you.
Wayne, do you have any?
Yeah, I know someone that works at the elementary school, and she has told me that many a time when they walk down the Sisson Road to take the kids down to Howard Center to the library and whatnot, that road with all the truck traffic is scary as heck. And this is gonna be a great improvement. I'm 100% for this.
Vivian? Sophia?
I think overall it sounds good, and I'm glad, Amy, you asked the species question. It looks like, from what they found, the trees are red maples and tupelo that are already there.
Okay.
So that sounds great. My one question was about if I heard it right in the presentation, they were talking about something about the slope that you were gonna have to create in that spot by the vegetated wetland. Is that right?
So we just had to make a steeper slope. It's about like 1.8 to 1, still enough to lumen seed it. But that gets us farther enough away from the wetland where we can still put down our erosion controls without them actually being within the wetland themselves and disturbing it.
And what do you seed it with?
I don't know the specific type of seed off the top of my head, but
Would you be amenable to us conditioning that it be a native seed mix?
yeah, sure.
And giving you specifications on that?
Anyone in the room like to remark on this? Anyone online? Hearing none. Guess we're ready for a vote.
I'll make a motion that we issue a -3 determination for Mass DOT, South Street, Main Street, and Sisson Road right-of-ways.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a request for an amended order of conditions. Mark Gordon and Carolyn Porter, 4 Monomoy Road. map 5, parcel K1A3, SE 322583. Extend the walkway and connect the patio to a deck area.
Good evening. For the record, I'm John O'Reilly. With me tonight is the owners, Mark and Carolyn, sitting right here. And to my right is Crystal from Sundog Ecological Landscapes, who has been doing the mitigation component of this project. We're here tonight because we made a small oversight as to the improvements that Mark and Carolyn were looking to do. And the project really, the base of the project was to provide access and ADA access to the house. And that's how the pathway on the west side of the building was created. What we should have come to you initially is to extend that walkway and into the patio that's on the south side of the house. So we are back here tonight for asking for an amendment to add just shy of 250 square feet. And one clarity I'd like to make on this is that if you've been out there, the driveway, where the parking area is up adjacent to the garage, is permeable pavers. They're concrete product with gravel in them. It's the same type of product that they're going to construct the pathway out. So it is really going to be a permeable walkway. I know it triggers your hardscape, but I just wanted to make that clarification. Crystal is here to answer any questions you have regarding mitigation. Area C, which was under a timeline from Natural Heritage, has been completed with the exception of the scrub pine? Pitch
Yeah,
pine?
5 pitch pine, they weren't available within the April 1st deadline, so those will be planned for the fall when we can get back in there to plant.
So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Amy?
I guess I would ask, what's your timeline looking like for the rest of this year for planting?
For planting,
Mm-hmm.
so we still have to complete the invasive
Invasives.
management part. Area A had been started,
Mhm.
because we ran the drip line through that area. So I'd say probably getting back to it, and definitely within the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then fall planting for as many areas as we can.
I understand the invasives are gonna take a little while to get under control to be able to completely plant everything, so.
Yep.
But it is good to see the progress on it. I really don't have too many comments. Again, you want to extend the walkway, relocate your AC pads. You have a little increase in, the buffer. You did request your variance. I think you kind of nicked that 50-foot.
Yes.
So you did do that. Your original mitigation, way overcompensated for which was a good thing on our end, for the 122 at that time square feet of additional hardscape. You were doing 3,300 square feet of invasive removal and what I would think is very valuable mitigation for the site. So I don't believe they need any additional mitigation for this little increase. I recommend approval of the amendment.
Okay. Wayne, would you like to begin?
I don't have anything, it's pretty simple.
Vivian?
Straightforward.
Okay. I have no questions either. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion that.
Comments.
I'm sorry.
Comments.
Any comments from anyone in the room or online? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for a amended order conditions for 4 Motomoy Road, map 5, parcel K1-A3, SE number 32-2583.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Because the only change was really a revised plan, I didn't have any changes to conditions. So if you see fit, you can sign off on that change tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next hearing is Jeffrey Lang, 11 Riverbend Road. They've asked for a continuance,
To June
To-
4th.
June 4th. I will move we grant the continuance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next item is Laura McCabe, 11 Nons Road. And they have also asked for a continuance to June 4th. I would move for the continuance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it again. Next item is John and Hallie Botello, I believe it's pronounced, 9 Stanley Road, for the reconstruction of a seasonal dock stairs and boathouse supports in Hinckley's Pond. This has been continued from May 7th. Do we have any representative?
I think we had instructed Mr. Burgess of Shorefront Consulting that if we were just looking for the DEP number, he didn't need to attend tonight. So we did get the DEP number for
Okay.
this project. The commission had no further questions. I would recommend approval, and as such, I also did draft, if you wanted to take a minute, it was on your, the draft conditions for this project. First, we need to approve it.
All right, well, that seems appropriate.
Yes,
So shall we have a motion to approve?
yeah, that's fine.
I'll make a motion that we approve the plan for 9 Stanley Road, map 81, parcel A11.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, none, so it's approved.
Yep, did you want to take a moment now to look over the draft conditions, or would you like to do that towards the end?
I don't think it makes any difference.
Okay. If you'd like to take a moment now, they have been prepped for you. I can quickly read through the specials, if you'd like me
Sure,
to.
let's do that and get it done.
You can just get that out the door. Oh, Mark is here. I was gonna say, we told you you didn't have to come. We just approved 9 Stanley. Okay, well, we approved it. I was just gonna go through the special conditions, but we haven't done the other ones yet. So special conditions, mainly typical ones, on-site pre-construction meeting with me, clean the site daily, all work to be done by hand. No trees permitted to be removed by the project at this time. There are 2 pitch pines directly in back of the boathouse, and if the contractor needs to remove them, it would need to be approved by myself and replanted with native shrubs when the work is complete. The existing dock and cinder block supports should be completely removed and disposed of properly off-site. All access will be landward from the applicant's property to the waterfront, except for a working barge to transport materials if needed, but I don't think we even have that option for this one, to do that. Staging for the project would be outside the 50-foot buffer. Talk about what the limit of work is. The dock sections are to be fabricated off-site with aluminum frames. Any timber used for structural framing would be pressure treated, ACQ or equal alternative as approved by myself. The dock is 40 feet in length, with only the first 4 by 10-foot section being permanent. The other sections would be removed seasonally by December 1st. A silt curtain would be in place during any silt-producing activities. Upon completion, the access path, staging area, and other areas disturbed shall be returned to their native state, with the addition of native vegetation as approved by myself. I think we have off-season, no, this off-season storage is outside the 50-foot buffer. Deviations would need to be approved. No fertilizers, herbicides, or pesticides used in the 100-foot buffer, and we will need an as-built.
Do we need to vote on that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The order of conditions.
I'll make a motion, we approve the order of conditions for 9 Stanley Road, map A1, parcel A11.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Good. Next item is Margilette Carey, Long Beach Nominee Trust, 0 Pleasant Lake Avenue, to construct a seasonal dock along Pond, continued from May 7th. I would assume that would be yours?
These next two, next three, we're waiting for file numbers, and which we got them all, so.
Yep.
We had talked about the in lieu mitigation fee and otherwise in standard conditions, I assume.
So this too, I took, because really the only thing we're waiting for was a DEP number, I also took the liberty of drafting the orders. So first, I would recommend approval of the project now that we have the DEP number.
Okay, how shall we proceed?
Technically, the hearing's still open, so if any people, any of the commissioners or any of the public have any comments, we should get them before we close.
Okay. Comments from commissioners?
Nope.
Comments from the public or online? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the order of conditions for 0 Pleasant Lake Ave, map 100, parcel K4-4.
I'll
Second.
second. All-
Who seconded that? It doesn't really, Mark, Wayne?
Yeah.
Give it to Wayne.
Take
Sorry,
a-
Mark.
Take a pic.
That's good. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nope. We have,
And that also, so the main condition there, in addition to our typicals, is a one-time in lieu fee of $1,584 to be paid before construction. And this is all going to improving wetlands and buffer zones in other areas of town.
okay.
Okay?
Do you vote to close the public hearing? Is that a separate vote?
We typically close, so when we do the order of conditions, we typically close. So to be clear,
I see.
you could amend your motion to include closing the public hearing.
I'll amend my motion to include, to close the public hearing.
Yep. And Wayne,
Second.
okay,
Okay.
all in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Thanks.
That just prevents any other input.
You don't have to worry about it.
Even from me, unless you ask me a question.
Yep. No, it's a little weird tonight, so we normally vote on the projects and then wait 2 weeks to issue the orders, but since there was really, for these, the only thing we're waiting for was the state number. I'm just condensing them.
Mhm.
Also, I won't be here next time, so I'm trying to make it less for Lily to have to do.
Yep, no, makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is Kristen Kelly Fisher, 101 Sequotum Road. Permitting of existing dock in Long Pond, continued from May 7th.
So this one too, we were just waiting for the DEP number. It's a dock that's been there for a long time in Long Pond. Never officially got permitted, but meets all of our requirements with the exception it's not quite long enough, or deep enough, sorry, at the end. So they're adding a section to get to 3 feet at the end. And you assess them $138 in lieu fees for this minor addition.
Okay.
So it'd be a last chance for anybody who has any questions or comments.
Are there any questions or remarks from commissioners?
Nope.
No? Or from the public? Okay, so
And then
vote.
it would be a vote to approve and close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we approve the order of conditions and close the public hearing for 101 Sequotum Road, map 101, parcel X6.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was Kristen Kelly.
And the next one is Sullivan's at 31 Mill Road and 6 Laura Drive. Reconstruction of an existing joint-use dock and maintenance dredging continued from May 7th.
Like another continuance.
Oh, and we're looking for
This one
another
actually, I have a
continuance.
question.
Okay,
I had emailed, I had emailed you like only yesterday, but, so first of all, Mark Burgess with Shorefront Consulting, I guess I should say that. When we last left this hearing, what the board suggested was that we increase the dredging footprint to maintain, or to try to achieve the 3 feet of clearance under the most landward floats that were
Okay.
right by the dock.
mm-hmm,
So I have had a chance to discuss that with the applicants. They're fine with it, but I don't know if there's a hitch in the giddy up here. Low tide goes right under the center of the float. So in order for me to bring those floats, I don't even know if you want to call it compliance, because it's all previously dredged. So
right,
it's just, it's fallen out of compliance because it silts in, which it naturally does.
right.
So in order to bring it back to where you would like to have 3 feet under those floats, the dredge, we would be doing intertidal dredging.
Yep.
And the dredging would be beyond 100 cubic yards, would be about 250. And where at daylight, well, not daylight, where a 3-to-1 slope comes back up to the beach is about 6 feet from the salt marsh. So what do? They
Okay.
would love to have that clearance. I can certainly steepen the slope to 2-to-1, and that will suck it in a little bit. But it's intertidal dredging, which supposedly, you know,
Yeah.
we can't do, but in this case, it's maintenance, so.
Understood. I guess I'd personally, if you don't mind, I'd be more concerned with the proximity of salt marsh to the dredge footprint if you were to go to the required 3 foot at that landward edge of the float. Personally, I'd be a little bit more interested in seeing if it could be less, 2 or 2.5 feet at the landward edge, would that impact, and just stipulate that they obviously can't dock a boat there on that end, rather than risk slumping marsh in. But I feel like we can't have too much conversation about this because we were not anticipating having a public hearing on this tonight because of there was a request for a continuance to June 4th.
I understand.
But I'm happy to talk more with you about that.
The only thought that comes to mind, and I know, excuse me, we're not voting, we're not making a decision or anything, it's just, the only other thought I can think of is because the area probably can't be considered significant to shellfish, I might, with a variance, be able to cut that distance under the float to 18 inches.
That would be,
It's gonna silt back in again.
yeah, it's gonna
So-
slip back.
It'll never be more than 18. As soon as I do go to 18, over time, it'll start. It took 25 years to get this way from the last time it was dredged. So I could offer that and see where that goes next time. That'll minimize and get it close, get it away from, it'll get it away from the marsh, less depth under the float. Those floats are only used for launching kayaks or something. There's nothing there.
So because you already have an existing permit to do dredging, and it's just silted in, I do think that the lesser of the two evils is to not make them dredge quite so much, because I'm more concerned about the edge of that salt marsh. So,
Well, I would still have to send it back to DMF, and they're probably gonna scream bloody murder because of
'Cause
the
you're changing-
dredging.
I know,
Yeah, and,
but,
okay,
yeah, so
it'll
I
be
would-
interesting.
I need to look at it some more, I can't commit to anything, but
Don't want you to.
you may have some grounds to ask for a variance from the depth
need to move to
Continue to June 4th.
Okay. I'll move to approve the continuance to June 4th. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So be it.
Can't time it any better than that. And the other one, I know you just have the file number, but that's continued for like 6 months, so we don't worry about it.
Yes, that's indefinite. Well, not to exceed a certain time we put.
I understand, I'm still working on that, and we've got to try to figure a site.
I got your email. We will try to figure one out.
Yep. Okay, I'm out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item, request for certificate of compliance. William M. and Paula M. Evans, 0 Snow Inn Road, map 15, parcel N8, BOR, SE 322475, pier ramp and float with dredging.
Mr. Chair, so upon inspection, and meeting with the owners and reviewing the project is in compliance, and I would recommend you issue a certificate of compliance.
Do we need to ask for any public?
Nope.
Not on this one?
Not for this one, just if any of the commissioners have comment.
Okay. Commissioners, anybody have any comments or
No.
remarks?
No questions or comments?
No? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for certificate of compliance for 0 Snow Inn Road, map 15, parcel N8-B-O-R, SE number 322475.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
We can take
opposed?
them, oops, sorry.
Good there.
We could take the next two together if you would like, the same property.
I think that's a great idea. John A. and Mary Facey, 26 Lakeside Terrace, map 72, parcel W 253, SE 32-783, house and dock addition project. And the following is house addition project, so it had to be all tied together at some point somehow. What say ye, Amy?
So Lily went out and inspected these. The first one for 32,787.83 is for, to add a bedroom and a deck on the back of the house, and it matches the site plans. And then for 32-1146, it was to add a 4-foot wide and 16-foot long extension to the home's entryway. What's out there matches what's on our plans, which is, I mean, pretty good back from the early 90s, that things are exactly how they should be, all this time later. So we would recommend certs of compliance for both projects at 26 Lakeside Terrace. You could do one motion if you like.
Well, then, if there are no remarks from the commissioners, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, for certificate of compliance for, let's see, 26 Lakeside Terrace, map 72, parcel W 253, SE number 32-783, and also 26 Lakeside Terrace, map 72, parcel W 253, SE number 32-1146.
I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, there's two here.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, finally, is legal opinion regarding the town use of parcel 23, Walter Road.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to preface this?
I wish you would.
Okay. So if you recall, back in late 2024, well, going back even later than that, the winter before last, we had three coastal storms that caused major erosion on our south-facing beaches. The town pretty much lost every set of beach access stairs on town properties. included in that was a set of stairs that had, for many years, been on this subject property of 23 Walther Road. That property is under your care and custody. So last year, when I was tasked with working with DPW to install a new set, just doing due diligence, I looked into the deed and found something I really wasn't expecting to find, which was language that says there shall be no no structures with the exception of a bike rack. So that made me pause, because we're talking about reconstructing a set of stairs there, and it was unknown if, according to the deed, if that could legally be done. So I made this known to administration, and they in turn let the Board of Selectmen know. There is interest in the neighborhood to seeing the town reconstruct these stairs. But reading the deed the way I did, I didn't feel like I could pursue that until we got legal opinion. The select board received legal opinion from attorney Catherine Klein. That was the first legal opinion. And that had opined that per the deed, stairs should not be rebuilt there. Then the select board asked for a second legal opinion. It was still with KP Law, who is our town council. However, it was a different attorney. It was attorney Amy Questle. This legal opinion, which you have, because it's been a little bit of an evolution, we have copies of everything for you. Essentially, it stated that they could be rebuilt, depending on the reading of the law. And essentially, to me, leaves it open-ended that it's really the commission's decision. Your role in this is twofold. First, it is your land that you have care and custody over, so you can decide whether you would like a set of stairs there or not, according to Attorney Questle. But then the second part is, and why we're back here tonight too, is that prior to expending any funds, be it donated funds or town funds, because it's gonna need engineering, just like we would require anybody else to do for a set of stairs, especially on an eroded coastal bank. Before expending any money on that, the town wanted you to have another crack at, do you agree that stairs could go there or not, according to your read of legal opinion. Just playing this out. If you don't, that's your decision. If you do, it would still need a notice of intent with a certified site plan, and it would still need to meet the Wetlands Protection Act and local bylaw standards for staircases over coastal banks. So, your role in this is twofold. So they asked me to ask you to reconsider, given the secondary legal opinion.
So what are we gonna do with this ultimately? How shall we proceed at this moment?
I think each of the commissioners should, if they have any questions or comments about this, now would be the time. And then I know that there are some people in the room who would probably like to speak as well.
Okay.
But right now, we're just talking about whether stairs can go back there, kind of per the deed.
Is this gonna come to a vote tonight?
It may. We'll see.
Okay. Well, Commissioners, Wayne, would you like to start?
It's one of those sticky wickets, huh? Love the legal profession. I personally would like to see a set of stairs there. I don't think it behooves us as a town to have something like that where it drops off and the people can't use it to live on, up and down that area. The other thing I see at the very last thing of your summary is we have another option of maybe getting a third legal opinion taking the best out of the three, you know, I don't know. But personally, I would go with the second opinion and allow the stairway.
Vivian?
I'm glad that we have a second opinion on this. I think in the second opinion, there's some, I can't remember the lawyer's name, but said there was no mention of beach access, and the stairs were still in place as far back as 1986, if I read it correctly. And then, so that sort of makes me want to see stairs go back there. I think the stairs should be replaced. And I also worry that without stairs, there's going to be further disturbance and possible danger to people who do access the beach, trying to get down there. And I don't live there anymore, but I'm very familiar. I was a 20-year resident and used those stairs quite frequently. And I think that seems to be, I'm not a lawyer, but that seems to be the spirit of the intent in leaving that piece of land there. So I would be glad to see the stairs replaced.
Okay. Sophia?
I guess I don't feel any different than when we looked at this last time, where it just seems like it was omitted from the deed, and I still feel like that takes precedent. I found the second opinion to be like a little bit confusing, but then again, I'm not really familiar with what she's trying to say. So I stick with my last opinion, which was to not rebuild stairs.
Okay. I am right between everybody on this one, because the pros and cons of the wishes of the person that donated the land versus the practicality of the daily living in that area are pretty compelling. And I have two concerns, would be public safety and avoiding any further erosion or problems going ahead. So I would support the stairs for that reason. And I'm not at all discounting the original owner's intent. I'm inclined to think that maybe stairs at that particular time weren't necessarily considered a structure of significance. And that's only an assumption, but that's my opinion. Is there anybody in the room that would like to speak on this matter?
Let's say the woman actually in the back had her hand up first in the purple. You'll all get a chance, I promise. If you would come up. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you have to come up to the microphone. I apologize. Thank you. And just say that, say your name, please, when you get here. Thank you. Sorry. Wherever, either here or there, whichever you prefer.
I frequently walk that beach, and right now, people are climbing on the sand up and causing more erosion. And there is no handrail, no safety, but that is how they're accessing it. So you have a safety problem with more erosion as the sand falls, so it's going to be a total washout. And meanwhile, you have people who are here with families paying high taxes when that was available, and they would use that route rather than coming down to Neal Road Beach and walking across. And they deserve their high tax dollars being recognized in what was there when they purchased their property. So that's my feeling. Let's stop the erosion on that banking and give safe access.
What's your name, ma'am, please? Ma'am, would you identify yourself, please?
Oh,
Your name, please?
oh, Karen K-A-R-I-N, Larson, L-A-R-S-O-N, 93
I
Mill
remember
Road.
you, yes. I remember you, Karen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next person.
Next. Sure. You said you all get a chance.
Thank you. Matt Sutphen, Harwich Center, formerly Walther Road. I know you have lots of correspondence from me over the last year and a half. I hope you're familiar with it. I realize that when people get used to something, it's very hard to give it up. And I accept that. If I were a neighbor using the beach, I wouldn't like it either. But what really is here tonight is what you want to take away from Josephine Jenkins. And what you're suggesting, comments to date at the moment with one exception, is that her gift doesn't need to be honored. Which kind of means that if you or I or somebody else gives something, we can expect this board down the road not to honor our gift. There seems to be principle here. You got the second opinion. It's like Swiss cheese. Primarily, in my opinion, because the select board was more interested in politics than principle. All of a sudden, 50 people sprouted out on Walther Road. Well, I know 50 people don't live on Walther Road. So I ask you to consider, if you were giving this property, what your expectations of the town would be. Fairly simple to me. The deed, which I'm glad you discovered, states all structures to be gone except for a bike rack. So I'd encourage you to specify putting in a bike rack. Josephine Jenkins did not leave a private beach for the neighborhood. She left a piece of ground to be raw, and in that state, extremely unusual fronting on Nantucket Sound. People will raise safety issues. You can go up to beaches in Nauset and walk down the slope, and you could say, well, there should be stairs. But this is life. Things aren't always just right. You do have a sign there posted telling people not to use the slope to the beach. It probably should say, walk down to Neal Road and access the beach that way. So I think it's essentially whether or not you believe in principle. I would like to give more land to the town, but if I have the idea that somebody's going to use it for a parking lot, I'm sure not going to give it to the town. So that's where we are. It's whether or not you would like to be treated differently than Josephine Jenkins expected to be treated. I might have some more to say, but thank you for the moment.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, my name's Bernadette Waystack, and I'm a 40-year resident of the town, and I've lived on Neal Road in that neighborhood for the past 25 and a half. Mr. Chair, I have some pictures. Would I be allowed to share them with the commission? 30 years as a teacher in the school system here.
Thank you.
Art, I believe in pictures. Thank you.
Guys, start down there.
It's ironic we're talking about principle and interpretation of deeds of opinions. I think, that's the crux of it here. As some of you have already eloquently stated, the deed stated no structures, and a cabana or bathhouse was removed from the property, and yet the stairs were not. And so I agree with, I think, what the chair had said, that in this instance, the intent or the description of structure didn't involve the stairs. They were meaning more of a building. And also a precedent has already been set. Hurricane Bob wiped them out in '91 and the town replaced them. And I know that's one part of it that pertains to interpretation of the deed. And the other part of it is the coastal bank, and that's your most important work. And I personally, right now, am a member of the local planning committee for, going on almost 3 years now. So I've become very well acquainted with natural structures, with the coastal resources, and the importance of what this body does. Last year, you approved a project that's not much more than 40 or 50 feet from the Jenkins property, the Wiseman property. That has now a set of permanent stairs with metal railings and granite steps built in down from their private to their private beach. And as some of you have already stated, it would seem that a set of traditional wooden stairs or removable stairs could be more protective than, a permanent structure. What's happened there too is that the work that was done has already reshaped the coastal bank, and some of it overlaps right up into the line abutting with the Jenkins property. And the same thing, we said a lot of these things to the select board. Signs unfortunately haven't and won't stop people from trotting down there, in addition to the liability that you've already spoken about for the town. Without the stairs, you can see it's already starting to groove its own little path down there, and is going to undermine and destabilize it. And again, this is opinion. Like everyone has said, my interpretation, I believe the stairs were not initially removed because they were never interpreted as a structure, and that her intention was for full access to town residents, including all the way down to the beach. And her intention was for a public beach, not a private beach. There's no personal stake in this for me. I can go to either beach or none from where I live. And I will admit, and I have said this to the select board, from Route 28, it's a good half-mile walk down there. So there's limitations for some people, unless you can walk or ride a bike down there. There's some limit to the access. But I personally believe, as has already been mentioned, that the intention and the spirit of the gift was not just for seasonal residents of the neighborhood or summer renters, but a public beach for all of Harwich to enjoy. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for the work that you do on behalf of us.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you. If you would, I'd just appreciate a rejoinder on that. This property used to be owned by my family. It was sold in 1950 to Josephine Jenkins. I used to play under this cabana. My grandparents made a deal with the Jenkins that they not build anything on that property but a beach bathhouse in my grandparents' lifetime. Josephine Jenkins more than honored that, because 20 years after my grandparents' death, my grandmother's death, she gave it to you guys. Now, she did not give it to you guys to be a public beach. That I know for a fact. The deed says as much. Whether or not you want it to be a public beach is really what we're talking about. I used to play under that. At age 7, I had warrens dug in the sand all under that beach bathhouse. I know it well. And the bathhouse was connected to a stairway that went down to the beach. When the town was given the property with the stipulation that there be no improvements on the property except a bike rack, the town decided to have a fire drill, and they got rid of the bathhouse by getting the fire department down there to burn it down. Now, somebody in the fire department exhibited some agency to preserve the stairs, which were attached to the bathhouse. Now, that's how the stairs came to be, and a problem. If they had been gone, perhaps we wouldn't be here tonight. So, again, I ask you to consider that perhaps the town did not live up to Josephine Jenkins' expectations. And I ask you to think about that seriously. There will be other people that want to be benefactors for this town, and they'll expect to be thought of seriously. It's not a matter of a convenience for some neighbors. Like I said, I understand the problem. But this is something that has more to do with the generation after mine, the generation after that. This is something that goes forward. It is not meant to go forward in its raw state. That should mean something. It's not a matter of accommodating the neighbors, as much as I regret, they're being upset about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Might be somebody online too, after this gentleman.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Pink Garrison. I've been coming to the Cape since 1951. I've been a resident here full-time since '86. Lived in 3 different homes in the neighborhood discussed. My mother and grandmother were close with Mrs. Jenkins. And we now own the house that's 2 beaches down from the one we're talking about today. And she wanted that property to go to the town. She wanted people to be able to go use that beach. That's why there were stairs there in the first place. It made an interesting sandwich between the Neil Road Beach and the White's Wiseman's Beach and what's Mrs. Jenkins has donated to the town. I know there's been thorough legal review of all this, not my area. I'm just speaking to the history part of it. Matt Sutphin was a kid. He was a kid when I was a kid. And was it your mother or your grandmother who was the legendary?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother, yeah. Mrs. Sutphin was out in the races every day. I'm just saying that the way I got the story from the people in my family who knew her is that her intention was to donate the property to the town and so that people could enjoy the beach. Simple. That's all I got.
Thank you. Is there anyone online or by telephone that would like to participate?
Can you hear me? This is Sue Tomich.
A little bit.
Okay. I live in Saquatucket Point, and I just have a comment about the intent. The document that, the legal document clearly indicates the boundaries of this piece of land. It does not say that part of it is excluded. It includes the flat area that's grassed up near Walther Road. It includes the beach area, and it also includes the area in between. It does not exclude that area. So, therefore, that area is part of the donation or the gift. In order to get from the flat part down to the beach, you can traverse that area that's also included in between. The choice is, it's going to be traversed because it's part of the gift. Do you want it to be traversed via stairs to save the dunes? Or do you want it to be traversed as it is now with people walking down and ruining the dunes? So that section was not excluded. And I believe the intent of Mrs. Jenkins, who used the stairs herself, was to give the entirety of that land. And again, the boundaries are clearly delineated in the documents.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may. It's somewhat frustrating to me, right, tonight, because I guess Bink remembers Josephine. I do remember her. I rode around her Cadillac a few times. If she had wanted a beach, she would have specified that in the deed, if she wanted beach access for the neighbors. She did not specify that. She specified that raw ground with a bike rack. It's just a bit unfortunate that people want to, in my opinion, take advantage of the deed. Sure, she's dead. What does it matter? That seems to be what everybody's saying. Oh, you know, nobody, I don't believe anybody in this room knew Josephine Jenkins. Maybe you did, Bink, but, so I don't know that they can act so friendly as good friends of Josephine Jenkins, because I don't think anybody here in this room can. So it really gets down to the deed and whether or not you want to honor it. You did choose to honor it the first time around, before the select board put the arm on you. I ask you to honor it again. Don't make it a political decision. Make it one that reflects the deed. And beyond that, I think I'd probably be repeating myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Hi, my name is Catherine Tran, and I am a new resident of now 4 years on Walther Road. And I actually don't know Mrs. Jenkins. I've only heard stories from my neighbors about the intent, but what I like to do is go straight to the deed and what I've read in the deed, and it's just, for me, very black and white. It says here on the second page of the deed, number 1, the property shall be used only for passive recreation. The word recreation is really key here. For me, it stands that she wanted us to use the beach, the word recreation. I don't know what that means for you, sir. I don't know you, but with all due respect, it clearly says what her intent is here. So I hope that, I mean, I don't have any more to say, but that's all I know is the black and white in the deed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It's up to you, Mr. Chair.
Just if I may, one more comment. I've sold a lot of land to Harwich for passive recreation. I feel very knowledgeable about what passive recreation is. And passive recreation is not building a stair. Passive recreation is leaving the ground raw and enjoying it to the extent you can without destroying it. I believe I would get support from the select board with that comment.
Thank you. Anyone else? I could use some direction here.
So it's so the opinion we have one opinion from council saying no, and we have another opinion saying if you want to, you seem to legally have the right to. So your vote here would not necessarily, would only determine whether the town could proceed with formulating an application to come forward to you under the Wetlands Protection Act or not.
How do you word that?
But your decision is whether you, so this is this is the land that is under your care and custody. You are the stewards of this land. You have been given opinion that, you've been given a couple of different opinions. So another, I mean, I don't know if a third opinion it's an option, but I don't think it's a great option, in my professional opinion, to go get a third opinion on this.
I don't think so.
You get a third answer, potentially, that.
Right.
And I am not an attorney, so the way, if you want my take on the project, I don't know if it's gonna make it any clearer for you, because I see argument in both cases.
Yeah.
I see
Too.
that the way I personally read the deed is the same as the first legal opinion, no offense to anybody. However, I do see the merit in the second, and I also know what the current use is there, and being a town staff, or an employee of this town, and knowing that being at this property frequently, it gets used a lot. And I always have my liability hat on me whenever I visit a lot of our town properties. So the liability factor also weighs in to me. That probably doesn't clear anything up because I see both sides, so I think any decision is a valid one. I apologize for
Yeah.
not being clear, but.
No, I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah, Matt's got some points. I mean, I've always been a stickler about that sort of thing, but I think you have to realize, though, in reality, people are gonna use that, no matter if you'd have to block the whole thing off with a fence. People are still gonna go down over that bank. Now, they're gonna, contribute to the erosion. You can see it in the photographs. That plus safety. They're gonna go over the bank there with little kids and whatnot, and somebody's gonna maybe get hurt. I don't know for sure. So, you talk about recreation. Well, the recreation would be using the beach, in my opinion. So you gotta get to the beach. The best way to get to the beach is over the bank, and it's best to have a stairway instead of walking down through the sand. So to me, it's that simple.
Yeah, and it's not clear that the expectation was that you would just stay on that piece of grass and not go to the beach. I think the person online made that point, that if you're gonna, leave that parcel of land to the town, the understanding is that it would include the beach area as well. So it's just, I don't wanna go down that rabbit hole, but,
You looked at me when you said that.
yeah, I just wonder, if we were to go with the first opinion, which I'll be honest with you, and Amy can back me up on this, it's been kind of getting between me and my sleep since we voted on the first opinion, because I deferred to legal judgment on that one, and kind of, it didn't sit very well with me, just given what I know of the history of there. But to Wayne's point, if you were to adhere to it in the way that you're laying out for us, wouldn't that mean then closing off the whole thing? Because, what's the point in having it if you can't walk across the grass and then avail yourself of the beach? I mean,
That wasn't her intention.
yeah.
That was not her intention. The property next door used to be where my grandmother lived. Somebody bought it for $5.5 million and tore it down. That's how valuable they consider the land. And my grandmother never planned to put up a bulkhead after Hurricane Carol, but she did. I'm sure the Conservation Commission would have preferred she hadn't, and just abandoned her house. But the bottom line is these things happen. The town has liability insurance for property that people walk on that's in the town's care. I don't like to hear the safety issue, because when you start to argue safety, it gets to be silly. Depends on, everybody's got their own idea of safety. But the point is, the town is insured. So I just don't see that as I see case safety as a bit of a cudgel here whenever somebody wants to get their way.
Can I ask you a question?
Surely.
What about the, integrity of the coastal bank?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, you have a fence up there of sorts now. Maybe it needs to be a stronger fence. Maybe there needs to be a fine, a significant fine, when somebody's found to be using it. I mean, a significant one, because after all, were you to expect it not to be used, then somebody would be tearing up what is your responsibility not to allow to be torn up. So they could be fined. They should be fined. What you're effectively doing is, for 2 or 3 people across from Walther Road, you're spending town funds to give them a straight access to the beach. And I know Josephine Jenkins did not intend that to happen, or she would have worded it such. And I know those stairs were never intended to stay there. And if you think just of that, if you think of the fire department burning down the bathhouse and burning down the stairs, which were attached, then you would say, well, that's what Josephine Jenkins wanted. And then you're gonna say, well, now we have to build some stairs because it's safe, because of safety and the bank. I don't think that would happen. I think you'd find another way to solve the problem. So I will say I came here heartened by your original decision. The decision was consistent with the deed. The opinion of the attorney was consistent with the deed. Thought everybody was exhibiting consistency. And then all of a sudden, now it needs to be scrambled because people want to be using it as a beach access. I can't fall for that. It seems to me so obvious. And I still come back to honoring people's intentions. If you want me to give more land to the town, you have to convince me that you're honorable enough to do what you accepted. After all, the town did accept the terms of Josephine Jenkins' gift. So live up to them.
You made your point. Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I just do it from here?
No, unfortunately, you
to
have
the
to come up
podium,
so the
please.
people online
Don't mean to be lazy.
can hear you.
But all right.
Yeah, so, like Matt, I lived in this neighborhood, the greater Neal Road neighborhood, pretty much my whole life. Summers or now, full-time. And right next to our beach, we have a beach. We're one of those private beach people. We're very freaking fortunate to have one. And with our deed, there's a right-of-way between our house and another house, and there's stairs on that right-of-way. It's just the right-of-way. When those stairs go down, we're going to build those stairs because that's what it's for. People don't, gee, let's go down Neal Road and have a picnic on the lot. No. How about going to the beach if it's 85 degrees outside? And to do that, there should be a safe way to get to the beach. I'm not in the legal argument. I'm just saying, why would you give deeded property with a beach to the town, unless it was for the enjoyment of people who come to Harwichport? It's just, I don't know, maybe it's a deep-seated emotional issue for you, Matt, but.
No, it's not.
But to me, it's a logical thing. Here's this, it comes with a beach, use it.
Thank you. Well, I think we've got everybody's opinion and thoughts.
So again, whatever your motion is, just know it's not to definitively, if you vote a certain way that you think this can move forward, it's not to approve them under the Wetlands Protection Act. That is a whole other step. This is just to proceed or not to proceed with that.
All right. That being said, we'll entertain a motion for,
I'll make a motion on town parcel 23 Walter Road, that we notify the selectmen that we can reconsider the taking and use the second legal opinion, and that the construction of another set of stairs is legally possible.
I'll second that.
motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Did I miss you?
One opposed.
One opposed, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Motion carries.
3-1. Thank you all for coming up.
Just minutes left, Amy?
Just minutes.
Okay. Minutes for May 2nd and May 7th.
We actually don't have the 7th yet. We don't have this, 7th, they're almost done, but just the 2nd, or what you're voting tonight, that's the work session.
Okay, yep, that's the one I read.
Do you mind? Yeah. Do you mind, Mr. Chair, if she asks a clarifying question?
No?
Come ahead, please.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I figured people might be wondering what next steps are.
Exactly. So again, I'm Catherine Tran, and I just want to be able to understand, the vote was for the second opinion, which was we can proceed, but the next step, because it seems like it's a process, I want to be able to understand and support the process.
Yep. So the commission, the majority of the commission agreed that it is legally possible,
Okay.
that the deed is open enough that it would potentially, you could rebuild the stairs. However, the next step is just like any other short-term property owner would have to do, especially that lost a set. And considering it's an eroding, very active coastal bank area, we need a certified site plan to be done by an engineer. And administration and select board know this. So a site plan and what's called a notice of intent application, and that gets filed with the Conservation Commission to then review the project under the Wetlands Protection Act and the local wetland regulations for work on a coastal bank.
Okay.
And if you need to email me and I can put that in writing, I'm happy to do so.
Can you?
But we will notify the select board of our decision, and it will proceed in their hands because we do not have the funding to do, and I know that there was a donation made. We do not have the funding in my department to proceed with the engineering plan needed.
Understood. So I am more than happy. You know, I truly believe in conservation and erosion. I've talked to you years
Yes,
ago when
I
I first
remember.
arrived here. Yes.
Mhm.
And so I want to support the environment.
Mhm.
So I volunteer myself to do whatever you want me to do to help do it in the best way for the community, all of Harwich, but also for the environment.
Mhm.
So I know how to find you. You know how to find me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, and I typically work with engineers to do our best to design the most environmentally friendly thing for an area, so, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, minutes of 5:02.
Yep, back to the minutes of 5:2. Has everybody had a chance to review them? Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Is that there? No? Okay.
Just empty.
I would move for approval.
Second
of
that?
the meeting- Of the minutes.
Wayne seconded?
Yes.
Didn't hear.
He said yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just, so we'll put the minutes on for the 7th next time. Just so you all know, I've been in touch with Kristen Andres over at APCC, and we're trying to figure out a June, I know it's really tough this time of year, but to do a native planting talk for our workshop number 3. I feel like we've talked with kind of the conventional side. Let's talk with the other side.
It's a good
So
idea.
forthcoming for that. And it looks like next Thursday is likely gonna be our new date for Community Planting Day. If anybody wants to come and help put some vegetables in our people's garden over at the community gardens. You can be in touch with me, I can get you more, if you're interested, let me know and I'll email you. We were gonna do tomorrow, that's not happening, so. And I think that's it.
Interesting situation there.
Yes.
You know, lawyers and the way they word things. Sometimes.
You know, I'm a
Make you
firm,
crazy.
I'm a firm believer in the principle of that.
I am too, but the thing is, then, the other half is, like I mentioned, the safety and stuff and whatnot. And people are gonna use the damn road. I mean, they're gonna go over the bank. They don't care what you do unless you.
You're absolutely right, and I mean, I think part of the responsibility.
Probably shouldn't be continuing to talk about this,
Yeah, I
without.
guess you're probably right.
Sorry, guys.
That's
All right.
Not unless you wanna
Yeah.
have another agenda topic,
you're
but
right,
no,
you're right.
No,
sorry.
let's not do that. Let's not go where we shouldn't
You
go.
don't, no,
Okay, are we done?
I have a question.
We need to move to adjourn, though.
Well, maybe we should, yeah, I'll make a motion, we adjourn the meeting of the Harwich
21st,
Conservation
yeah.
Commission of May 21st.
Motion's made and
Yeah.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.